Hey you guys, welcome back for another video. This is a little different scene here. We are at my husband's shop where he has his landscaping company, and we have our huge family garden. And I haven't really shot a lot of garden videos, but you know what? That's definitely going to change. Gardening is a huge part of our life, and we are really working towards, as a family, getting back to really knowing where our food comes from and being a lot more self-reliant. So in this video, I am going to be talking about, I think, the top 5 things you should be planting in your home garden to really try to get away from all of the crazy high food prices, and they're just continuing to go up, and to just try to make yourself more recession proof and just more self-reliant. So the first vegetable I think that you should be planting in your garden, and there's a million of them out there, guys, but the first one is potatoes. It is so easy to plant and harvest potatoes. Here at our garden, I don't know if you can see here, I'm going to tilt the camera, all these holes behind me, these are potatoes, and they are so easy to grow. And you know what? You can freeze them, you can can them, you can eat them fresh. There is so many ways that you can store potatoes. And one potato planted can give you up to 5 to 10 potatoes just from the one. So you can just yield so much. We plant about 50 pounds of potatoes every year, and we get about 200 pounds of potatoes in return. So potatoes, so easy to grow, and so many ways that you can store them and eat them that it's pretty much of a no-brainer. The next one on my list is peas and beans. So my kids really don't like peas. I like peas if it's like mixed in with stuff, but green beans, my family really does love. And this year we are planting more green beans. We like them like bush beans is the type of seed that we buy. So they're little mounds on the ground that we can harvest from constantly. We also bought burgundy beans this year, and it's a type of green bean. They're just more of a purple color. Again, you can get tons of harvest, multiple harvests. And what I like about the bush bean or the burgundy bean is that I don't need to trellis, or they're not going to grow up. So they just stay in like a little mound on the ground, and you know, it doesn't take up too much space. So green beans, eat them fresh, boil them, freeze them. Again, so many ways that you can store them, and they have a really high yield. Next up, I have corn. So here in Illinois, we grow tons and tons and tons of corn. We have actually a really hard time growing corn. It doesn't grow that big. Last year, I would say we had the best harvest of corn, or at least the best growing of corn that we've had. And right when we went to harvest it, we realized that the raccoons had come and ate every single solitary ear of corn that we had grown, and it was so defeating. So corn, if you can grow it really well in your area, it is awesome. You can just, dehusk it, and you can just freeze it whole. You can can it. You can eat it fresh. Corn can go a really long way. We're going to give corn another try, and hopefully we don't have any critters that get to it this year. But what I will say is, if you are growing corn, make sure that you're alternating with some greens in the soil afterwards. So don't plant corn in the same exact bed as you planted the year before. It just takes so much nitrogen. So you're going to want to plant greens like lettuce, collard greens, turnips, chard, kale is a great one. that you're going to want to alternate that bed to put the nitrogen back in the soil. So you can do corn and or greens or both. Next on my list is herbs. Herbs are not only fabulous for seasoning your food, but you can use a lot of herbs for medicinal purposes. So making sure that you are growing herbs that you love to cook with is always handy. And some great ways that you can store those herbs is to dehydrate them, but also eating them fresh. But don't forget to plant herbs in your garden, because herbs are really expensive. If you're buying high quality organic herbs at the grocery store, try to save yourself some money there by planting herbs in your garden. And the last thing, the camera's getting crazy, and the last thing I would suggest to plant in your garden to really help ward off some of those rising food prices and potential food shortages is to plant squash. So our family loves butternut squash. It is late May right now when I am filming this video, so we haven't planted our squash yet, but I just ate a butternut squash, me and the family, that we harvested back in the fall, and they're perfectly good in my storage in my basement. So whether it's acorn squash or butternut squash, if you really like certain types of pumpkins, don't forget to plant squash, because there's a really high yield, and if you store them properly, they last for what seems like forever. So I hope you found this really helpful and you got some value out of this list. There's so many more vegetables and fruits and things like that that you can definitely put on this list. I would love to hear about that below. Please comment with some things that you would like to add. And I really can't wait to keep sharing more garden content with you guys, and we'll talk soon, guys. Bye-bye.